Let's get salty!
Everyone, douchebag Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and we've talked a lot about, in the most recent days, the latest battles patch that saw 25 buffs and minor nerfs, and a lot of us felt that it wasn't quite enough to get that change that we wanted, and I thought it would be interesting to take a look at the cards that I feel are the most likely, the most, bad for the game in standard, that could use adjustments. I'm not saying all these cards need to be hit, but they're kind of the cards that stand out to me, and I'd love to hear your comments in the comments below over what cards you think should be nerfed, or the ones I suggest shouldn't be nerfed, and all of that. And well, as I'm already in douchebag Zeddy mode, I may as well mention that we're on the road to 69,420 subs, and it would be awfully nice if you hit that sub button down below if you feel I've earned it. Now I'm like DJ douchebag Zeddy. Anyways, I just thought we'd take a quick look at the win rates across all ranks, what classes need help. So probably not gonna nerf warrior or mage. They're probably pretty bad. Druid and Rogue we're going to talk about, even though across all ranks they're not so great. Higher ranks is a little bit different. And then of course you got Paladin, Demon Hunter, Deathlight, and Undead Priest Hunter. All that doing pretty well. At the high meta, you just got Unholy Deathlight. It's like the top deck. It's the best version of Deathlight right now. Of course, the Demon Hunter decks locking things down is, it like I mentioned, Tony Druid, Miracle Rogue, all up here. Pure Paladin, even though everyone says it's not good at high ranks, seems to do all right at higher ranks. But anyways, enough of like the deck power level. What exactly do I think should, or at least they should look at addressing? For Deathlight, honestly, there's only really one card in terms of like class cards that really stands out. And you might be like, Zeddy, Pure Blood's broken, Frostworm's Fury's broken. Well, Frost Decay and Blood Decay at high ranks is barely 50% win rate. I feel like, and some other stuff I might suggest might, dial things down. I don't know if I'd hit that, but for Unholy, this card got buffed to the point where it creates 1/3s instead of 1/2s. This card was already good before it got buffed, and now that Unholy DK is not exactly struggling at all, I just feel like reverting this buff could be a thing they do. But honestly, Deathlight to me, from my play experience, doesn't feel that frustrating, in particular now that you can't discover the triple rune cards. The fact you can't get a million Vampiric Bloods, you can't get a million Frostworm's Furies, makes it, at least to me, feel a bit more reasonable that I don't think you would nerf these cards. But again, let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with that. I will say though, before we go into other class cards, I'm just going to talk about the neutrals that stand out to me. Hawksrider Rancher is one of those cards, again in Unholy, but they can run in a bunch of other decks where this 5 health just has always seemed nutty to me. I don't know why it's not like a 2/4 for this type of effect. It is a card you certainly could look after, but if you really, really want to hit a card that I think is really kind of problematic, would be Nerubian Vizier. I would love to see its discount go to 1 less rather than 2. I don't think you need to obliterate the card, but again, it's one of these cards that just in like so many different decks and creates that really frustrating feel where, they get that perfect spell and it's discounted. It's just really frustrating, mostly with Deathlight again, but it is one of those cards that kind of stands out to me. Do I think it should get nerfed? I don't know, but it's one that you certainly could talk about. For me, there's no class that's more frustrating to face right now in the game than Demon Hunter. And I actually don't really mind the Outcast Demon Hunter for the most part. It fights for board. I think I'm okay with that deck, but what I don't like is that basically every Demon Hunter deck runs Unleash Fel, Silver Moon Arcanist, or whatever it's called, and just basically it's a get out of jail free card. In any deck where you play those two together, you're basically always clearing the board and fully healing for really cheap. And then you can do whatever broken strategy you want. I feel like this is the big enabler of just all the broken, frustrating Demon Hunter strategies where if you go big, you get punished by Sinful Brand. If you go wide, you get punished by Unleash Fel. It's one of those decks where, at least at higher ranks, it is just such an unbelievably frustrating experience. I don't know if it translates lower ranks or anything like that, but the Unleash Fel interaction, I would like to at least see this go to 2 mana, have it not go face, but I just feel like Demon Hunter shouldn't just have this ridiculous get out of jail free card. And the other Demon Hunter card that stands out to me that a lot of people talk about is Lady Asino. This lady is a nasty one, and she likes to kill ya, and I don't know, making her a bit more expensive probably would make it a little less frustrating. I don't think you change the stats. I don't think you change the effect because that kills the card, but making it 1 more mana, which a lot of times won't matter because you have mana cheat and all that, I feel like is another card you could really look at. And the honorable mention to me, I don't think I would nerf this yet, but Glaivetar is also just another insanely broken, ridiculous card where I wouldn't mind it seeing it have like 3 attack rather than 4, because it's a really deep premium attack, like drawing your whole deck. I don't know, but it's one I wouldn't nerf yet, but the other two definitely on like my high list of just, oh, drive me crazy cards. And yeah, Druid across all ranks isn't amazing, but at higher ranks, it's pretty darn gross, very polarizing, and it all comes down to a new Brecon, what it can enable, cheating out Zoc, which is actually arguably better than the Tony Jailer stuff, just getting giant Zoc taunts and then flipping them, killing your opponent. But a noob just allows such ridiculous mana cheat, and the fact that it's now tutorable, right? You're tutoring it with Summer Flower Child just makes it really consistent, really frustrating, and to the point where maybe you make this a 9, a 10 mana card. Maybe you make it that it's only 2 minions you could cheat out. It started off with a no cap on that other than your armor. I don't know, this card just keeps creating problems in every format with every new battle cry they add to the game, getting those cards cheated out. It's just a very frustrating experience, and that's, I think, a card or that whole package at some point will get nerfed because it's a play pattern I don't think they're going to be very happy with, but it is the only thing propping Druid up right now. So it's one of those things where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. It'll be interesting to see where they go with this one. Hunter I wouldn't nerf, Mage I wouldn't nerf, but I think a lot of players would be very, very happy if the Disco Mall took a nerf. Like, I know it's not the most broken deck at higher ranks, but they don't just nerf cards because of high ranks. Pure Paladin across like all ranks is just ridiculous. In this card, the bane of so many people's existence. Like, it's just the way this thing scales is absolutely ridiculous. I wouldn't try and kill the card. I probably would just make it a 3 mana 3/2, slow it down a little bit. I give it an extra attack so it's still, you know, competitive at 3 mana, but something like that where it's just, it comes down so early and scales so fast that maybe if you slow it down by just that 1 mana, it would help a lot. I think it would probably kill the card, to be honest, but it is a card that's just really frustrating where, you know, they just snowball those stats and you just blow up. There's not much you can do, and it's really punishing when you're not playing like fully optimized decks, and you can see that across all ranks. So Disco Mall is the only Paladin card at the moment that I would think would probably get hit. And lastly, for Rogue, Miracle Rogue still really good and really creates very frustrating feelings, but only at high ranks. It's like only top 1000 legend for the most part. I wouldn't give it a huge hit, but Ghoulish Alchemist, the card, I'm just gonna say this card's always kind of bothered me. 2 mana, gain 3 mana later, right? Like, it's negative mana. I've seen people say like your next concoction this turn costs 0. You could make that change. I personally just think it should be a 3 mana 4/3. You spend 3 mana to save 3 mana later. That just makes more sense that you can't shadow step it and play it for free. Kind of gets around a lot of those absolutely disgusting turns. Personally, I just get rid of Shadow Step from the core set. We all know that's not going to happen. So for high legend reasons, I would nerf Ghoulish Alchemist, and I don't know if I would really hit too much else. Yeah, and outside of that, I don't think I would really nerf a heck of a lot. You could always consider Astalor because it's in so many decks. Same goes for School Teacher, but they're very popular, very good cards. But I have to say, outside of this getting Shadow Stepped a bunch, I don't find Astalor to be particularly unhealthy. I think it's a lot more reasonable now that Bran is gone. And same with School Teacher for the most part. It's a really powerful card, but I don't know. I think it's a fun card to play, and I would hate for it to get hit any more than it already has. We saw what happened when it went to a 4/3. It was unplayable. I feel like those cards are probably safe. And I will mention Wild. Wild, I do think could use a slight nudge in the right direction still. Toxfin Flurgle combo is still just kind of crippling. Shudderwalk Shaman, it just solely relies on that Flurgle Toxfin interaction just to win games all the time. Always have the board, do whatever you want. Maybe a brilliant Macaw adjustment, but I really do think that for the health of the game, Flurgle Toxfin is one of those interactions that's been left alone while most of the other stuff has gotten hit over time, that I still feel like this is the one big remnant that really needs to get hit. And also I saw this submitted on the Wild Hearthstone subreddit, a change to Quest Mage, which again, still pops up as a pretty frustrating, problematic deck even after the Parrot nerf. How elegant would this change be? Make it a location with 1 use. I don't think they'd ever do it, but I just thought I'd throw that out there because I thought that was a pretty cool idea by Pepper70. So just thought I'd throw that out there. Maybe that's a change that could happen someday. I think that's a really cool change. Anyways, let me know in the comments below about why are you nerfing all these cards? Why would you nerf any of these? Or maybe you just have better suggestions. I'd love to hear it. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.